Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far after Karma arguably disrespected Methodz by trying to get Scump to drop in for their kickoff teams at the start of Modern Warfare 3. Methodz has now responded saying that Karma's just jealous that they have the best kickoff team ever assembled, and saying Karma should probably just form his own team if he wants to try and take them down in these tournaments. Very much interested to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. There were some clips going around here at Black Ops 3 that I always enjoy sharing. Psychosis was so strange, but good times. Also, I thought this was an interesting conversation that was had, because you guys probably remember if you watched Black Ops 3, right when that game first came out, the Annihilator was like the go-to specialist that was used. So people generally use, Heatwave, which for some reason wasn't G8, because that was where OP, Heatwave, Camo, Glitch, stuff like this. But the Annihilator, usually one player of the four would use an actual weapon as their specialist. It took longer to get it, but that's usually what they would use. And the Annihilator, for the first couple of months of the game, that was the most common one. It was like a 6-shot pistol. If you hit them with it, it was a one-shot kill. And, Slasher, or Nameless was asking Slasher, was it banned in Black Ops 3? But it wasn't banned, actually. The issue was that people realized that, first of all, the Annihilator took longer to get than a Tempest, but also the Tempest was just better, especially in games like Hardpoint, where if you hit one guy with the Tempest, yes, there was a bit of a build-up time to it, but even then, if you could miss people slightly with the Tempest and it would still get them, like the beam had a little bit of width on it, and then once you get someone with the Tempest, then it kind of it changed to other people. And in Black Ops 4, you guys probably know the Tempest in that game was a 2-shot kill, but in Black Ops 3 it was a 1-shot, right? And it would just eliminate anyone around the ballpark. So that was good times. Now, there are also some specialist things in XDefiant, and according to this source yesterday, XDefiant has now gone through the appropriate approval process to be approved as a game. This is clearly far later than they hoped for. I haven't really seen any updates on this yet from Mark Rubin or from Aches as to exactly what's going on, but the beta was a long time ago. People have forgotten about XDefiant for some time, and I'm sure they were hoping to have released it basically by now, if not a few weeks ago, in part so that the COD pros that are doing nothing really at the moment and are waiting for the new game to arrive and for the new beta of COD to arrive to actually play a bit of XDefiant, because, I'm sure that there is part of the guys working on XDefiant that want this to try and be some sort of competitor to COD, and if anything, have some sort of XDefiant Pro League is probably the ideal scenario, where maybe, ex-CDL players that maybe a bit washed up, that they go to the XDefiant League, and that was kind of the talking point at the time. So apparently the game has now been improved, and it will be, we'll have a release date very shortly indeed. Hopefully that's the case, but even then I know that the general perception seems to be that they might have missed the boat somewhat on this, and the game is not going to be as successful as it could have been had they really hit the ground running. But still, if the game's good enough, I think it will still gain some traction, and Aches will obviously be plugging it every single flank episode. You probably also saw this drama over the last couple of days. So the recent world 100 meter and 200 meter world champion Noah Lyles in athletics, he made an interesting statement where he said that, obviously because he just won the world championship or whatever, and he's talking about these NBA players that call themselves the world champions despite having technically only won a domestic league. Now, Crone, obviously he's just saying this for impressions, because there's clearly a difference between the CDL and the CWL and, an actual domestic league, because the CDL is, that is the world league, if anything. I mean, the CWL literally was the world league. The CDL is kind of the world league. I mean, okay, there's a London team. That's pretty much it outside. And there's an argument that says that it's nowhere near as worldwide as it should be, the CDL. But, look, at the end of the day, if you win the world championship in the Call of Duty League, I think that does qualify you as the world champions, right? It's even called the world championship. In the NBA or other domestic sports, it's a little bit different. While they might be the best team in the world, they might have all the best players in the world in there. It's not quite the same thing as far as I'm concerned, but, I understand why people think differently on this. There's been lots of drama I've seen on that over the last few days, as I'm sure you guys might well expect. Now let's talk about Chef Tony, Lil Tony. I thought this was funny, so I forget exactly what they're making in this one, but yeah, Chef Tony has an idea what he's up to. Lil Tony, or Lil Anthony, I guess, maybe he needs a little work on his rolling pin skills here, right? But good content nonetheless. And we saw this come through, right, between Karma and Zinni going into the new kickoff. So Scump has made it clear the other day that it's a possibility he might return to challenges for the new season if he really likes the game, but especially playing the kickoffs. He wants to play with Pred, with Shotzzy, and with Zinni. That's the team of 4, and that's a very solid team of 4 to start off the season with. The creator XC CDL Pro tournaments, it makes a lot of sense. The roles make sense, everything seems to be going well, and I'm sure they want to do well in those tournaments, make a lot of money from those early kickoff tournaments, and that's going to be part of the process. Now, Karma, the current coach of the OpTic team, wanted to get in on this and was basically roasting Zin and saying, look, Scump, you got to drop this guy, otherwise, you know, you're going to lose everything, and I'm going to beat you guys. So he wanted in the team instead, and therefore, Methodz, as you might expect, gave his response to this and basically says, look, Karma's just jealous that we've put the best possible team together, the guy's obsessed with me, and kind of implying that, look, Karma, just maybe make your own team, you know, like there's some other options out there, you know, go get Envoys, go get some other guys in, and, you know, play with 2 CDL pros, maybe Karma should hit up Simp and aBeZy, right, you know, say, look, 2 you guys with me, you know, maybe we can have a good time in this, right, so it would be really entertaining if Karma does put a team together, if, well, if Scump kind of keeps with his word.
I mean...
Also, who the f does Damon think he is?
Why, what'd he say?
When his tweet to you yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
His jealousy was showing.
I mean, I think that means that he loves you.
He might be obsessed.
Oh my
and
god,
jealous
dude,
that we have the best kickoff squad literally ever assembled.
Dude, I completely...
Who's the retired you missed the most watching in the league? I mean, it's Crimsix or Scump? Yeah, honestly, probably those two. Because, like, played against Crimsix and Scump a lot. Playing against Scump, obviously. The Green Wall loves Seth. So, like, it was just a lot of fun. Because, like, all the Green Wall would be super passionate when Scump was playing. I like playing against Crimsix. Crimsix would always roast me. And then I would beat him. And then he'd just be like, fuck! Then roast me some more. So that was fun. Probably Crimsix for the most for me. I miss Crimsix the most. But yeah, without Scump, playing against OpTic, it doesn't hit the same. Like when you play against OpTic, it's like...
Oh my god.
When we beat him, what was that, Major 2? It was just like, you know, it was like, oh, it was cool. Beat OpTic, but it's Scump's on the team. It's kind of just weird. Who would you pick, Karma and Crimsix? Who is the better player? I mean, it depends. Because like earlier in their careers, Karma was like a superstar type player. But then when he joined the Dynasty, he just had to take a back seat because he already is teaming with Scump, Crimsix, and Formal. Like someone has to do the dirty work. But I think Crimsix just probably had more highs. But also could just be his play style more. Because like in Ghost, Crimsix was crazy. AW, Crimsix was really good as well. So it depends what player you're looking for in a team. You're looking for like a more selfless player, it'd probably be Karma. But if you're looking for a player to be like to show out, be a superstar, probably Crimsix.
So it doesn't seem like Scump is going to sketch on his boy, right, to change their minds here. And as I say, I do wonder what Team Karma could potentially try and form going forwards, because he could hit up a couple of pro players and try and get something already defined here now, so that when the season launches, because it would be really interesting if Karma's team, whatever he puts together, plays up against Methodz team when the new season begins. I'll be looking forward to that, certainly, if that indeed does occur. But yeah, this duo does go way back. Doubtful that Scump's going to sketch on his boy, especially because you know, it's not going to matter that much at the end of the day. The teams are probably going to be pretty similar in ability, I would imagine, regardless of the circumstances. So yeah, Scump, Pred, Shotzzy, Methodz is the likely situation. I also shared a couple of clips there from Attach discussing kind of the players that he misses in the league. He was talking about Karma and Crim as players as well. Obviously, Crim's got the most accolades. Karma, in terms of like the level that Karma was at in Black Ops 2, was unbelievable, and definitely I think somewhat underrated nowadays, just because Karma's been retired for a few years. He starts to slip quite quickly down the all-time rankings, even though I'm not necessarily sure that's entirely fair. And as we talked about with Los Angeles Guerrillas earlier today, I do wonder what the future is for Attach, because, you know, I know that he's talked over the last year or so that he wants to compete for maybe 2, maybe 3 more seasons, then he's probably going to call it a day. And it's not like Attach has been bad at all the last couple of seasons, but he's been a little bit more anonymous than he has been for, you know, let's say the earlier part of his career. And Guerrillas right now probably makes the most sense, but look, if they're not going to pay anything like what they used to be paying, and if it's going to be similar to what Vegas are going to pay, for example, then it does raise the question whether it's even worth it for those guys at that point, if the rumors we discussed earlier today with Guerrillas definitely trying to get out of the CDL CDL are indeed going to be true at some point. So yeah, definitely intrigued your perspective on that. Thought this is always a funny image whenever I see this one, right? From when Octane and Methodz joined OpTic, I just always cracks me up, to be fair. Now, a couple of Brian stats here before we close out the video. He was going through teams that have won over half of all major tournaments in a season. I think 5 of these have Crimsix on, probably 4 of these have Karma on, and very impressive. But actually, it's interesting just to see that New York Subliners got on this list, right? I guess we're counting half or over half, I suppose. So OpTic and MW3, and then Complexity BO2, obviously, Complexity EG and Ghost, and then OpTic during the entire Dynasty period. It's interesting that, you know, despite not winning champs in Black Ops 3 or Advanced Warfare and coming top 7, top 8 in both of those, technically top 7 in Advanced Warfare because they won a playoff against Team Caliber or something, but, you know, it was top 7, top 8 in Black Ops 3, and then they won it in Infinite Warfare. Every year they still won more than, you know, at least half or more than half of the major trophies. That makes sense. And it's interesting that, you know, let's say the 10 years of the CDL, 10, 11 years, or not the CDL, but the Call of Duty competitive scene in general, there's been quite a few occasions where a team has won more than half. And even since the CDL has come around, FaZe obviously did it in Cold War, and Subliners won 3 out of 6 this last season. And Crim was actually commenting on this, saying, are you sure that Dallas Empire didn't win more than half of the tournaments they played during MW19? As Crim says, Empire 5 of 9. Because then obviously a complicated season, MW19, to really calculate, because it was a weird one. There was 8-team home series, so you couldn't play every tournament anyway. But as Brian Tat says, I thought it was 4 out of 9, but you made it to the finals in 5. LA, Chicago, London, and champs you won. But you see, Brian Tat, in my head it's 5 because we were so dominant, I decided to throw in an extra one out of nowhere. So technically, like, Brian's hat is right on this one, right? And they only won 4 of 9, but they made 5 finals, Dallas Empire. But even then, Dallas Empire were pretty close. That would have been a weird season to say, because obviously they're not playing FaZe every tournament, because half of the tournaments didn't have the other teams in them, to be honest. But even then, you would have had a situation where the significant majority of the seasons since competitive COD's been around, a team has won more than half. And if Dallas Empire had won 5 of 9, then 3 of the 4 years of the CDL would have been a team winning half, if not more than half of the events. Vanguard, of course, being the very obvious and understandable exception to exactly that. And just this from Kennedy as well, I thought was just prime off-season content as it stands. CDL face morph. Now, I'm going to be pretty good at these in general, just because I like a lot of the times when I'm using these pictures for thumbnails and stuff, I get to know like the hairstyles and stuff of the players. So this is Pred's hair. Like, I just know it because I use him on thumbnails sometimes. You can actually see part of his chain here as well. And this has got to be aBeZy's face, right? He looks a bit strange on this, but I think this is aBeZy's face. And then there's this one, which is, you know, you guys can obviously pause the video if you want to give it a go. Like, first of all, this is going to be Priestahh's, like, kind of outline and his hair here. Because, as I say, I kind of see these quite a lot when I'm making the thumbnails. And, but I couldn't really work out whose face this was. I think this might be Joe Deceives, but I'm not actually 100% sure. So yeah, I don't know. Tweet your thoughts on that one in the comment section below. But hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.